What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple Newtype, and in this episode we are beginning our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam Walpurgis Eve, the night before the awakening. In our coverage of Gundam Walpurgis, we learned that Mashido Oaks was a clone of Sirocco called Shamal. He and a rogue clan member named Fiorina disobeyed Sirocco's directive, and he became his own human being. Also, Sirocco created a mini Angel Halo 80 years before Angel Halo. This manga is a prequel series. Here we will see the end of the Neo-Zeon War. Serana goes out in the Demeter for the first time. Thane fights in a Double Zeta variant. And Haman looks into getting Cyber Newtype enhancements. So let's get into this. January, UC 0089. The final battle of the first Neo-Zeon War is taking place. Haman has been greatly weakened by Glimmy's rebellion. On a Satellon-class ship is Serana Khan praying for her sister. Suddenly, Mosa collides with Core 3. There was this really cool bar that Roberto used to hang out at right about here. We saw it in Char's Deleted Affair. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. Serana comes to the bridge. She could sense in that moment that Haman is dead. The Ayug's fleet comes in a little too late to help Judo. But what we don't see in the show is the Federation and the Ayug's mop-up of the remaining Neo-Zeon forces. They want Neo-Zeon to surrender. But Core 3 was rightfully given to Neo-Zeon by the Federation. Many claim this is their territory and they must fight for it. Some Sig Zeons break out on the bridge, but Serana shuts them down and says this is suicide. They just had a civil war. The Neo-Zeon top brass is completely divided. Organizing a fleet to fight against the Feddies and the Ayug is impossible. One Indra-class ship decides to be a distraction and launches mobile suits. The ship is instantly shot from above. Their sensors pick up a Gundam. Drysons rush in to attack and are met with Nemos and Gem 2s. Watching her fellow Zeon get murdered in front of her, Serana decides to pilot a mobile suit. A mechanic shows her a new prototype, the Demeter. He explains that the Kubli is the successor to the Elmith and excelled when it came to miniaturizing Seikomu tech. But Universal Century is on the precipice of 4th generation mobile suits, and Haman knew this. She recognized the limitations of her Kubli and prepared for the future. Also, this is a prototype Demeter, which is different from the Demeter in Walpurgis. This one has a different head and is white. Serana plans on uniting Zeon long enough so they could retreat to where they could turn this war into guerrilla warfare. She launches in the Demeter. A Scissor rushes in for an attack. As they fire their cannons, it is struck down. As both sides continue fighting, Serana comes in and uses funnels on some gems. She thinks back to her sister. Serana tried to get Haman to reconsider her invasion of Earth. She doesn't want bloodshed. Haman says this is a pipe dream for them and they have to use force. But perhaps when Minerva is older, she will experience no bloodshed. She heads towards the Gundam's location when a gem grabs her. She can't use funnels at this close range without damaging her Demeter. Gaza's Seas go to help. Serana thinks back to the past once again to when they were children. They were probably on Side 3 at this age. Haman believes war is upon them. Serana wishes everyone would just eat cake together. But Haman says, what if I take your cake? Certainly you would want to fight for your cake rights. These sisters are very similar, but they differ so much when it comes to one core value. In the present, Haman uses the docked funnels to emit a tiny beam saber, and it slices through the gem. A fleet of old Begro Mirs take out a Salamis-class ship. The MA-05M Begro Mir is a limited production mobile armor which was seen in the final stages of the 1-year war. This is an enhanced Begro and has better mobility, armor, and firepower. It has cannons and the claw arms, and the missile launchers on the hull are removed. It has 2 improved rear thrusters. It also has an enhanced megaparticle cannon. They fight against some Gem Intercept customs. One of the Begro Mirs is shot down by a high mega cannon. It is the Gundam. This is the Hedgehog, the MSZ-009H2, or MSZ-009H. Hedgehog is an upgraded version of the Double Zeta B type, designed for the Ayug. This version of Double Zeta is designed to be operated by 2 people. It can split into the G-top and the G-bottom. Weapons include 4 hyper beam sabers on the backpack, 2 beam cannons in the shoulder, 2 beam cannons in each leg, and Vulcans. The pilot happens to be Thane from Walpurgis. He is with Lint. Lint calls him an idiot for firing his cannons and giving away their location. Thane is thinking of Renardo. At this time, he left the Ayug and joined Neo-Zeon. Before the battle, Thane and Lint were shown the new Double Zeta unit. Some think it is a cheap knockoff of Double Zeta, but this is the real deal. Since this is a 2-seater, the 2 of them will be the pilots. In the present, Thane and Lint goes to town on Neo-Zeon, but then the Demeter approaches. It's fast. Thane can't read the Demeter's movements. The unit breaks apart into 2 pieces. I mean, it beats using 3 people like in Double Zeta, but it's still pretty clunky. The fighters can outpace Serana's funnels. She doesn't know what to do, but she has to figure it out. We flash back to Serana chasing a cat and falling. Haman comes over and tells her, "You don't have to chase." You just have to use bait. She uses food to lure in the cat. In the present, she decides to set a trap. She sends out a hologram which projects Haman. Serana is essentially a hologram VTuber pretending to be her sister. She tells Neo Zeon to fall back. Thane thought Haman was dead, and it must have been a trick this whole time. He and Lyn's fighters reconnect to form the Gundam once again. They fire up the high mega cannon, but the Demeter's funnels take out the Gundam's backpack. Thane ejects the backpack and rushes the Demeter. He is able to take out one of the Demeter's funnel boosters. A sniper shoots, scaring off Serana. Suddenly, a flare goes up. Neo Zeon has surrendered. Thane thinks that the Haman hologram that he saw may not be real. The war is over. The Demeter returns to the Cylon-class ship. They saved a Zaku machinery. It happens to be Leonardo. He has watched her actions and wants to dedicate his life to her cause. Serana says he doesn't need to die for her, but they can all try to live together. The war ended. They learned that Minerva was a fake. The Fetties were pleased with the superficial win over Neo Zeon. However, many Neo Zeon remnants remain ready and raring to fight. Later, Serana is running tests in the Demeter. She is struggling to synchronize with the funnels and can't get an attack. Serana is in meetings with Neo Zeon higher-ups, and these meetings happen to be horsed harness. They come to no consensus about which direction they should take. Many are pro-war. Now that the Fetties' guards are down, now is the time to attack. Even the Cylon captain thinks force is necessary at this moment, but Serana doesn't see it. However, she acknowledges that she is one who flees wars. She never fought like Haman did. She also can never forgive Haman for dropping a colony on Dublin. Even so, she is no leader like Haman. The captain says that many would follow her, him included. Serana meets with the mechanic in the hangar. She wants him to get into contact with the Newtype labs that created this mobile suit. That's when she meets with Lauren Nakamoto. Lauren Nakamoto started at Flanagan Institute, then worked for the Federation and the Titans, and now are back to work with Neo Zeon. The past couple of comics with his appearance make it seem like Lauren Nakamoto and many of the scientists, to a certain extent, are just independent contractors trying to get by. She wants the Doctor to give her cyber-Newtype enhancements and to make her look like Haman. Serana feels like she has a responsibility to do this. March UC0088. On the outskirts of Side 5 is the clan's base, Storm Garden. Fiorina and Conchetta's talisman start glowing. Meanwhile, the clan brought a giant asteroid with them from Jupiter. This is Ambrosia. Hyphen wants to merge Ambrosia and Orpheus into one, which makes a lot more sense now in retrospect. He explains to Mannheim that Orpheus will amplify the will of Sirocco to the world. Mannheim thinks this is dangerous. Hyphen tells him to keep his mouth shut and to continue working on improving the Shamal clone, Shamal Prime, aka Mashido. Hyphen wants to use Orpheus for his own will, it seems, not Sirocco's. They're waiting for the White Grimoire to react. Amasala Glashton is carrying the containers, which eventually will show up on the Yulong in Walpurgis. It was at this moment that Mannheim realizes that he needs to fight against this, and protects Shamal for himself. He doesn't want him to become a tool. Lauren Nakamoto tells Serana that it will take a year to seed Haman's memories into her mind, but she doesn't have that much time. The Doctor suggests that a man named Mannheim might be able to do this faster. He suggests memories are mere fragments which can be compressed. Mannheim created the Wenrar of memories, essentially. He can't accomplish this in just 10 days. Unfortunately, he was last seen with the Jupiter fleet. The mechanic knows Lauren Nakamoto is giving Serana false hope. It is possible, but it will most likely cause some form of brain damage. This Newtype lab is hidden within the university. This would be considered an inhumane surgery. Even if possible, Serana is Serana and Haman is Haman. They're two different people and they should stay that way. Serana runs into a young man on a bench while she is feeling down. It is Mashido. Bernardo is scouting in Azaku 3 near Granada while Horst's men infiltrate the city as civilians. Serana buys Mashido some ice cream. He tells her that his father brought him here to this hospital because he has memory problems. I don't know if I made this clear during Walpurgis, but every time Mashido lost his memories, we are to assume Shamal was activated, then killed, and Mannheim got a new Shamal clone and reactivated it. A nurse comes to collect Mashido. His dad isn't here to pick him up. This makes Serana think about her father. She cries because Axis is returning to Earth. She knows this means war. But her father, Maharaja Karn, tells her that this is a military fortress, and war is inevitable, which is weird tonally because Maharaja was a Daikun loyalist. We then cut to Maharaja on his deathbed with Serana by his side. He says that Serana was his favorite child because he too hated war. He says this in his last breath. A drone is spying on Serana. She is alone, so some Black Ops Wappas begin their mission. Mashido could see the Wappas moving in. They miss Serana but get this poor guy next to her. A fire extinguisher hits a Wappa pilot. It is Mashido. He jumps out of the second-story window. It is the hardliners making moves faster than expected. Mashido and Sarana get on a Wappa. His doctors are so confused. After being chased by Wappas, they cross a road and are hit by an Anaheim Electronics mobile suit cargo truck. This sucker takes up like 4 lanes. Mashido is badly injured. The Black Ops team sends out the Kui. Kui! The Wappa and the Kui do a pincer on the AE truck, but the mobile suit breaks out of the truck. AE is confused as there is no pilot. This is Overon being transferred. It fires its Vulcans and scares off the Kui. The pilot says that the Kui wasn't the right choice. Ramba Rao's Kui team would never blame their bad strats on the Kui. Maybe get good and never disrespect the Kui again. This man is making me irrationally angry, talking shit about the Kui. Tonio Oaks is watching overhead and realizes that his son is there. A tech named Sand, or Sando, comes in and helps Sarana. The two lay Mashido in some grass and they get out of there in their smart car. Peace, kid. Back at the medical center, Lauren Nakamoto has seen how far hardliners are willing to go. Knowing this now, he is willing to help Haman with her cyber Newtype procedures. Sarana heads to Granada. They're planning on providing them a mobile suit. As they reach the moon, they see a Zaku line of mobile suits. Mr. Sand tells them that it was a part of the Pazoon project. Remember, before Gundam Sentinel, Pazoon was occupied by Zeon. These are the mobile suits that AE are giving them. A woman approaches the two and tells them that it has magnetic coating and can take attacks from modern mobile suits, making it still relevant. Her name is Francesca Maruru. She is head of a Granada sales team for AE. They begin the transfer of some mobile suits. The others, disguised as space UPS, wonder why they are willing to work with them, especially after Haman tried to drop Axis on the moon. It seems shady. Leonardo mentions that the AU doesn't operate on principles or ideology. They all wonder what's up with Leonardo's past since he was a former AU member. The team is impressed by the mobile suits expecting trash, but this can keep up with the Demeter. Leonardo recognizes them for what they are. A Neo-Zeon remnant faction. Even if Sarana pretends to be Haman, they need power. Hardliners attacking has proven this. Having more mobile suits gives them a little bit more power. However, it seems like they don't have enough funds for even these mobile suits. The captain tells Sarana that Francesca isn't on their side. However, this is something that they need right now, and she is willing to make the sacrifice. They accept the deal to mass-produce the Zaku machinery. Bernardo asks Francesca what was that new Gundam that helped save Sarana. She is unwilling to divulge any details on the mobile suit. Meanwhile, Tonio Oaks, Mashido's dad, aka Mannheim, has already created a new patch to fix the issue in the field. He already knows that it was Mashido that activated the Grimoire system. Apparently I've been saying that word wrong this whole time. Stupid French words. He didn't think Mashido could be able to activate it from the outside. He looks on at Overon, which has its face mask. 9 months before the Overon betrayal, May UC 0088, Von Braun. AE is testing out the new Z2 V-Type, which we broke down in our first episode of Walpurgis. Raymond is a part of the team. Many investors are excited to have a mass production version of Zeta on the market, but Raymond tells them that mass production is impossible. The transforming parts wear down the magnetic coating, which if not maintained causes overload. The overhead cost of maintenance is the problem. He thinks there should be a high-end bespoke mobile suit. Raymond is too much of an engineer and is scaring the moneymen away. He meets with Francesca after learning of her top-secret project. She lets him in on Tonio Oaks and the Sirocco mobile suit he has been working on. Raymond seems to know him by his other name, Mannheim. Raymond says, "Hey man, is this incriminating me?" Yes it is. Have fun keeping a secret for the rest of your life. He shows him the Gundam. Raymond wanted to work on high-end mobile suits. This is his opportunity. He learns that the designer of the mobile suit was none other than Sirocco. Francesca later tells Raymond that the mobile suit doesn't matter to them. What matters is the Grimoire system, but only Sirocco knows and is built into the black box. She thinks that this is a lie, and that is what Raymond is going to figure out. Congratulations on your promotion. It comes with a little bit of corporate espionage. Maybe try blackmailing Mannheim's son. Francesca knows that Raymond lost his parents to war. She manipulates him with this, and he just goes with it. They are in the process of testing the Overon. Usually, the testing process would only take about a month, but doing things in secret made it take 3 months. They essentially smuggle parts over time to funnel into their project. Off-record parts take time to build up. Over the 3 months, Raymond became enamored with Sirocco. He then hacked into the systems and found data on the Eldridge system. This wasn't a part of Sirocco's plan and wonders if this is Mannheim's doing. Raymond learns that Mannheim will be working on the core pod from Olympus Colony. He wonders if he found out about his snooping. It seems he wanted to be close to his son. Raymond has Francesca's contact saved as Witch in his phone. He was able to get enough intel out to her regarding the Grimoire system, but she wants Raymond to build a Grimoire clone. Half a year later, UC 0089. Mannheim is finally back in the office. Raymond asks him about the incident with Sirocco and Camille. He tells him of the Eldridge system. We flash back to Mannheim telling Sirocco about how psycho waves from an outside interference can influence the O's quasi-Seikomu system. The man from Jupiter doesn't think that the Aug has something as strong as the O in their possession. Mannheim actually warned Sirocco, and he ignored it, and in the end, it cost him his life. They misjudged the power of Zeta Gundam, and even more so the pilot. Mannheim tells Raymond that he will never let something like that happen again. Raymond thinks the grimoire will surpass the biosensor. Raymond buys himself a Corvette. There was a big accident, so he takes the car off-road. He watches video footage of the incident from some random worker. It's a downed Kui. He wonders if this is Neo Zeon. Mannheim hides the Overon under its Choban armor that looks like the O. Raymond finally makes it to the office and his now beat-up Corvette to find the unit being hidden. He didn't know that Mannheim even made this Choban armor for the unit. It also serves to shackle the grimoire system. Raymond doesn't understand the need to restrain it. Mannheim mentions that it was activated without a pilot. Raymond snaps and demands to know what Mannheim is hiding. Heimel calms him down. He then focuses on Mannheim's assistant. He must know the secrets. Raymond thinks there is something that even he isn't being informed about. Mannheim knows that Raymond has been stealing psycho chips, which is what he has been giving Francesca. He lets his assistant in on the possible third unit. The first unit is probably going to get destroyed, but he wants to prepare for a third unit if needed. This is setting up the MacGuffin of another Overon unit at the end of Walpurgis. His assistant helps him on this new secret unit which may destroy their careers. Lauren is concerned about the procedure. Suddenly, Haman shows herself. This isn't Serana. The Federation sends someone to interrogate AE about the incident on the highway. They send Major Jesse from Walpurgis. Jesse enters to find the O, not knowing it is a Gundam. Raymond tells him that the Federation is trespassing. They believe they are hiding Sirocco's Gundam, but they didn't find anything, so they just leave. Mannheim's Choban armor came in handy. Francesca talks to Melanie Hugh Carbine. The Titans did so much damage, politicians are siding with Neo Zeon. Sirocco represented the Titans era, and they don't want that stank on them. He knows her new plans for the Federation moving forward. It is designs for the new mass-produced Jagan. They need to put the people's minds at ease, so they are erasing the Sirocco project. The Gundam doesn't exist. After the call, men come in and guard her to ensure that she doesn't sell off trade secrets. The Zeon boys explain the grimoire system to Serana and how it will improve funnel mobility, but Ernesto doesn't trust it because it comes from Anaheim. They will do more tests to ensure it is safe. A civilian ship approaches them. It happens to be Lauren Nakamoto and Haman. It's a body double, apparently. The double wishes that she could have died in Haman's place. Lauren also mentions that she is a walking dataset of Haman, which means he has an extra dataset to work with so he could help with the procedure. Last time Lauren said it would take a year, so this probably reduces time. Serena also needs her help in a mission to help reclaim Neo Zeon. They will no longer live in hiding. Mannheim's assistant informs him that they canceled the Overon. Also, his assistant refers to him as Tonio Oaks. I don't believe he knows him as Mannheim. He wonders if he could track down where they junk all their abandoned projects. But it's impossible even if they weren't just blindsided. AE's supply chain keeps things a mystery for the most part. He asks about Francesca and the assistant informs him that she committed suicide last night. Perhaps someone tried to silence her. Earlier, they took the core pod. This contains a backup of the Shamal clone, which Mashido will back himself up into in the future. Mannheim wonders if the clan can retrieve Unit 1. Meanwhile, Fiorina and Concetta are running tests when Fiorina senses something. They are testing the Glashton and are preparing themselves for the grimoire. After the test, Fee tells Haifan, but she doesn't tell him everything because what she sensed was Mannheim warning her to be wary of Haifan. Remember, Haifan was second in command on Sirocco's Jupitris and creator of the clan. Mannheim specifically says that Haifan is turning Sirocco into an evil spirit. She then tries to blame it on a random feeling. She does tell him that she saw the dark side of the moon, however, which means she saw Granada. Haifan recently got a cryptic message from Granada that says that they want to return the White Grimoire to its original owner. The girls wonder if it's a trap. It doesn't matter. They need the White Grimoire to enact the Walpurgis plan. Haifan asks Fiorina to go find it. This is why she ultimately doesn't return it to Haifan. Mannheim is monitoring Mashido. His mental state regresses to a child. Then, suddenly, he becomes Shamal. Mannheim realizes this isn't his son's brainwaves. It must be Sirocco's prime clone. They cut all the psycho waves in his pod, but this is pure psycho waves, bitches. Shamal instantly sees everything. The Overon, the Psycho Flare, and the Eldridge system. They sedate him him until he passes out. Fiorina launches to hunt down the White Grimoire. The Beta team moves in as someone attacks the moon. Part of this team are Thane and Lint. The mobile suits attacking is the Fafnir. This is a rare Shadow the Fafnir in mobile armor form. It transforms and throws off Thane's gem. They are running training exercises that throw off the Fafnir. Raymond meets with Kristoff to discuss the Grimoire system, even though Kristoff is only concerned with performance. Raymond explains the 3 important factors of this Grimoire. First is a quasi-Sekomu system. Second is the Eldritch system. And third is its function as a throne to bring back Sirocco. Raymond explains the clones in a clear and concise language that probably should have been stated in Walpurgis. Kristoff says that this power existed. The Titan remnants would have brought it out years ago, but Raymond says his real goal is to take down the Sirocco remnants. Then they awaken the Grimoire themselves. Kristoff says that one wrong move and they could be responsible for another war. He says, I have a daughter that I treat like shit, I can't go starting wars. Raymond reaches in his coat, and Jesse in the room pulls out a gun on him. But he isn't attacking. It's just plans for Orpheus. Half of humanity is gone. No amount of peace is going to stop the hatred of the past at this point. There needs to be something to force peace. They need the Psycho Flare. He convinces Kristoff somehow. 1 month later, Roxana Rox is looking at the Argamakai-class ship, the Yulong. She is mad that Federica Hermie is getting the Nepo Baby treatment and getting assigned captain over her. Hermie brings up her brother that is more worthy of this position, but Kristoff says, don't you dare bring up your brother's name. Remember, Nardo left the AU to fight for Neo Zeon. Hermie visits her mother's grave. She runs into Thane and Lint. Thane is still blaming himself for Nardo leaving. A random cargo shuttle passes by an AE shuttle. Out of the cargo bursts Fiorina. Fi tells the ship that they won't get hurt if they change course and do what she says. She could feel the presence of the throne, but it is weak. Fi suddenly senses someone. Serana and Leonardo are looking over the new units. She is informed of Francesca's suicide and wonders if it was because of their involvement in Neo Zeon. As Fi moves in to open AE's ship, she is attacked. It is Funnels. It is Haman and the Demeter. Fi calls it the Red Grimoire. Haman hears this and thinks there must be others. Her 2 wingmen threaten to hurt the ship if they hurt Fiorina. But Serana thought ahead and already has funnels aimed right at the mobile suit's back. Fi is piloting a Marasai and was barely able to dodge a funnel. The Demeter moves in close and slices off her leg. On board, the AE ship, Oberon, activates. Haman senses Sirocco and gets the chill. Fi uses that moment to stab through the Demeter. We learn through a flashback that this isn't Serana, but actually the Haman body double. Oh, that's why she was wearing the Haman wig. Version of expectations. Her real name is Reagan Rodan, and she says that she lives in Haman's shadows. She is with Serana, who also looks like Haman. This is getting hard to keep track of. Everyone looks the same. She is merely a tool to die in Haman's place. But Serana says she could be so much more than that. Together, the two could help rebuild what Haman left. Serana actually wants her to be a mentor, and it seems like she sees her no different than her actual sister. Oh, that's very sweet. So anyways, come back to the present where Reagan is vaporized. Both the Marasai and the Demeter are dead in the water. Then Fiorina sees a Newtype entity. Reagan says, how dare you kill me? I'm so going to haunt you. Fiorina thinks the hate must be fueled by Paptimus. That is when Serana comes in with her other Demeter. Reagan was in the prototype version. She slices through the Marasai. Fi escapes in the suicide ball of doom, but the Demeter grabs it. Realizing that Reagan is dead, she feels the need to crush this pod, but she must interrogate Fi. Bernardo comes in too late. She apologizes to Serana, but Serana doesn't exist. She says that she is Haman, leader of Neo Zeon. Conchetta wants the sortie. A hyphen won't allow it. There is a reason there is 2 of them, in case a situation like this were to arise. She mustn't let her personal feelings get in the way of the plan. They're making modifications to what they call the sphere, which I assume is the Overon-Glashton combo. Conchetta might undergo enhancements, and Hyphon tells her not to push herself. They have to move Ambrosia, which is the pod of Shamal clones, while Orpheus is the Psycho Flare. I originally thought they were one and the same. I still kind of do. I'm not confident. Raymond is on a video call with Melanie Hugh Carbine. He reminds Reagan that he needs to figure out what happened to Francesca. Later, he learns of the attack on the AE shuttle. Heimel, who's with Raymond, can instantly tell the debris is from a Marasai. He is reminded that Sirocco had his hands on everyone. No, I said that weird. Sirocco touched No. But why? Raymond wonders. Why would he scatter the grimoire between the Aeug, the Jupitrus, and Neo Zeon? Was Francesca planning on starting a war, he wonders. You idiot, if anything goes wrong, you're going to start a war. Kristoff even told you this. Jesse asks at the hospital about Serana and Mashido. He also wants to know about Dr. Ron, which is Lauren Nakamoto's fake identity. The receptionist asks for a warrant and shuts them down. One of the doctors overhears Jesse. They're doing a legal interrogation. The two see that the doctor is listening in. He says, good, we have questions for you. Meanwhile, Mashido is going to school on Olympus. Serana opens the pod. The Neo-Zeon hardliners have a base called Ka Rauza, which is a busted up tip of an O'Neill colony. Colonel Galaga is their commander. He thinks Serana and her faction are just delaying the war. That is when Haman comes on the comms. She demands that Galaga give up the Satellon-class ship in their possession. She gives him 1 hour. But Galaga knows that this is Serana, and his men go to battle stations. The Demeter and the Akzakus go into action. Galaga isn't buying it, but his men might be swayed. Bernardo fights against a man named Hatley Bato and an Arjarja. He realizes who he is fighting. It seems that he was his brother-in-law. Bato doesn't think his Aksaku is a match for modern mobile suits. The Satellon-class ship sees and hears Haman. He thinks she is real and decides to turn against Galaga and fight her side. Galaga concedes to Haman's command, but she says that she has no need for dissenters and will purge them all. They destroy the Ka Rouse's bridge. Serana's crew is shocked and they all look at Lauren Nakamoto. We flash back to Lauren, who tells the crew that there is an issue with cyber Newtype enhancements. When they enhance people, there is usually a slave master situation where there is ultimately someone fully under control of the cyber Newtype. They wonder what happens when it is done to someone at the top. No one controls the leader. On top of that, Serana's enhancements come from Reagan, and Reagan's enhancements seem to focus on war. This imprints onto Serana, and she may very well drop another colony on Earth. The crew collectively put their heads in the sand and say that that can't possibly happen again. They control what remains of Ka Rauza. The men celebrate the return of Haman. Sand, the Demeter tech, wants to remain at Ka Rauza to maintain all of the surplus of mobile suits. Harana allows it. Bernardo knows that Sand has lost his dedication for Serana once she killed Galaga and his men. He believes that Serana is still in there. They know that there's a lot of work to do if she wants to get real power, noting that Menova and Shar are still out there. Meanwhile, Kristoff gets his hands on the O. Alizé is testing the Psychomo on the Fafnir. Thane can't believe she was able to defeat his team. The two bicker at one another. We flash back. Francesca is dead and Raymond is trying to work with the Lees, but she refuses. Raymond says, look, you could work with me, or the Federation's new type scientists can touch you. Which do you want? No one wants to be touched in the name of science. Raymond says, don't worry, I'm getting screwed by the people above me. This whole world is pretty messed up, man. I like their honesty. Raymond says, let me speak a language that everyone understands, and whips out the Anaheim Electronics gold card. Kristoff is unable to get into the O. This isn't something that was created by Mannheim. This was directly handled by Sirocco, and requires his DNA to open it. He says this next to the Fafnir, which has sensors that lets Elise hear every word he is saying. Now she wants this treasure. Raymond is going to travel under the protection of the AU to help them. He realizes others know of the grimoire now. While Haman is interrogating Fiorina, her talisman lights up. Lauren Nakamoto sedates her. Her mind is still conscious, though her body isn't moving, and she could hear everything. Lauren notes it's a piece of Psychomu implanted into her, but she was in a Marasai, so it wasn't to control Psychomu's system. The AU is sending out 2 fleets. It seems like they are casting a wide net for something codenamed White. She realizes they are after the grimoire. Fiorina is the compass, and the mobile suit was right in her hands the other day. So close yet so far. Haman decides that she will steal this mobile suit. Thane finally understands that Mannheim wants his son to inherit the name Sirocco. Thane is a part of the new Yulong crew along with Jesse. Jesse mentions that Olympus is a private colony owned by Anaheim Electronics. The only intel he tells Thane is that their target is a kid who doesn't know who he is. Harana gives the whole Knights of Xeon spiel like Haman used to. The AU moves in on the Ka Rauza. Lint is in the new Nemo rhymes. Thane tells him they are going to get flanked. As Harana's funnels overwhelm everyone, the Fafnir attacks. Haman can sense the Double Zeta in this Gundam. Elise fires on Neo-Zeon's men instead of attacking her. Serana Man is on the defensive. Should I call her Harana or Serana Man? Elise fires at her, and time slows down. She knows she won't be fast enough to move, but the Demeter dodges, only grazing one bit of her binder. She realizes this is the power of the grimoire. It is helping her move at the speed of thought. She also hears a voice telling her not to rely on intuition. It is the real Haman. Elise can't believe she dodged. Instead of fighting, she retreats to her ship. This battle just stops. It doesn't really end. It appears everyone that knows of the grimoire are making their moves. Everyone is after Sirocco's legacy. Harana thinks, well, it should be me then. They head to Olympus to look for the White Grimoire. On Olympus, Mashido and Lucia are talking about his YouTube videos that he is uploading. As the two split, he says he will see her tonight, but he doesn't. He doesn't. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam Walpurgis Eve. Walpurgis was unnecessarily vague for no reason, and I feel this manga was released to fill in the gaps. This really should have been a part of Walpurgis. Sirocco was the one who distributed his tech to all the factions, and even had Anaheim Electronics help him in that process. But unlike Anaheim Electronics, who helps everyone to sow chaos,
Sirocco took the baby turtle approach and just wanted his tech to live on beyond him. And if you've seen Victory, it kind of does. This is a good story once you fill in the gaps, which the story for some reason tries to keep from you. Let me know what you thought of the Walpurgis series. I wish there were more stories during this transitional period of AUG, but that will do it for now, Newtypes. Remember, if there's money to be made, Anaheim Electronics is there. Peace.